And you're watching Sporting Icons.
Now, we here in the UK, we have always loved American fighters for as far back as we could possibly remember, almost as much as our own fighters. And that tradition seems to be changing a little bit lately. And a lot of it is down to the fan base of, say, Deontay Wilder. Not the fan base, but I'm talking about the extreme fan base. I think Wilder has some excellent fans. He really does. Some true fans, some honest fans. But he has the far left extremists as well, and these are the kind of ones who put a shade over American boxing, because as I said before, we here in the UK, we've always loved American fighters. We've always followed the likes of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. People go as far back as George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Sugar Ray Leonard, all these kind of guys. We've always followed and admired what they do for the sport of boxing, which, let's be honest, here in the UK, we invented the sport of the squared circle, right? So when it comes down to today, people are just looking at a lot of the American fighters going, I'm not too sure if we like you, because of the PBC fanboy. So this is why I believe, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Americans would agree as well, why they would love nothing more than for Tyson Fury to get the win. Don't get me wrong, Tyson Fury has extremist fans as well, okay? But they're not as bad as the Wilder PBC fans, where these guys just hate on everything and everyone who's not part of the PBC or their particular race. So for us, we would love nothing more than Tyson Fury to get that belt, because then he's kicked open the door to be shining a bit of a light on boxing once again. Because for too long now, that heavyweight world title is being kept under lock and key hostage situation. Poor Sophia, has been held under protest because it hasn't been put on the line and treated with the kind of respect that a legendary title of that should get, because it hasn't been defended against the proper heavyweights out there, the proper fights. There's no way that belt should have been on the line against Arthur Spilka, against Chris Arreola, a rematch with Bermane Stiverne, a second fight with Luis Ortiz, first one fine, but second one behave, and quite a few others. So we want Tyson Fury to save boxing for America, save American boxing. American boxing has always been the epicenter for boxing. Yes, it was all started here in the UK, and yes, the UK today is a booming boxing collective, isn't it? Whereas in America, it seems to be petering down a little bit. I don't know whether a lot of this has to do with the Floyd Mayweather effect and whatever. I don't know. But again, we here in the UK, we've always liked Floyd Mayweather. Of course, except when he's fighting, for example, our guys such as Ricky Hatton. Now, of course not. But I think that American boxing is it's stagnating a little bit. And it's not good when a lot of like these fanboys, they're just clambering and hating on everybody and protecting and lying for Deontay Wilder and hating on their own fellow American heavyweights just because of one man. There's no reason for it. There's no need for it. America has plenty of heavyweights throughout the history who were phenomenal, absolute legends of the sport. But today, what youth is looking at boxing, especially if they're big lads, looking at boxing going, yeah, you know what? I want to become a boxer. I want to be like Deontay Wilder. Ain't no one saying that. Nobody's saying that. Which is why the conveyor belt for American heavyweights is depleting. They're going to be shutting down shop soon and selling up, because there aren't anybody who's looking at this guy going, you know what? I want to be the next Wilder. Years ago, people were saying, I want to be the next Muhammad Ali. I want to be the next George Foreman, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Tommy Morrison, etc. I want to be them. The smaller guys. I want to be Floyd Mayweather. I want to be Sugar Ray Leonard. I want to be these kind of guys. But nobody's looking at Wilder going, I want to be him. I want to lose every second of every round, get beaten around, fight defensively, fight scared, and then eventually just land one big punch and just end the contest. Because that's not really, well, it is winning the fight, of course it is, but people don't want to see that. People want to see two fighters going at it, where it's a close fight and then one of them land the big punch. That's what people want to see. That's what people are entertained with. Not just watching round after round go by thinking, man, Wilder sucks, man. He really, really sucks. Boom. Okay, there you go. He's landing the right hand. That's interesting. That's not interesting. That sucks. That's crap, is what it is. And he's disrespected that famous belt. That belt that is associated with Muhammad Ali. When you see pictures of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and all these kind of guys, you see the WBC strap handed over them. Yes, it's not the oldest belt. Of course not. The WBA is. But the way that he's been allowed to cherry pick, the way that he's been allowed to get away with things for so many years, the way that he's allowed to duck certain fights, to avoid undisputed for life-changing generational money, $120 million. That is outrageous. The way that he's allowed to just freeze out the likes of Dillian Whyte requires somebody to take that belt away from him. Tyson Fury, he ended we could say, somewhat of a boring era for heavyweights with Vladimir Klitschko. Listen, I was always a Vladimir Klitschko fan, but Tyson Fury ended that reign and opened up a new door. He unlocked the door, opened it a little bit. Of course, he went off the rails and done what he had to do, ended up getting stripped of his belts, vacated the rest. Anthony Joshua come along and kicked that door wide open. Wilder could have done all this himself. And American fans love nothing more than to support their own. But they're not supporting their own when it comes to Wilder. This is why Tyson Fury needs to get that belt. This is why Tyson Fury needs to be on point tomorrow night in Las Vegas. He needs to show that, you know what, a good boxer will always beat the puncher. That's what he needs to do. Rescue that belt. A new light will be shining over American boxing. Yes, the belt won't be in America. Okay, we get that. But he will defend it against big name fighters. The fighters that Deontay Wilder has avoided. Tyson Fury will defend it against Joshua. He will defend it against Dillian Whyte. He will defend it against American heavyweights. Michael Hunter gets very little to no praise over there. And there's plenty of them that don't. And it's quite hard to name some of them. Yes, of course, some of them, they've let him down. Big Baby Jaramella, he's let himself down. And of course, his fellow Americans, he's let him down with doing what he's done. Hopefully, he makes amends for that going forward. Jared Washington, people don't really get behind him. Charles Martin, don't really get behind him. Donald Brazil, don't really get behind him. And the list goes on. But that's because there isn't a whole backlog of these fighters coming through. Here in the UK, we've got a lot of heavyweights coming through. Some of them haven't turned pro yet. And we already know who some of these guys are. Steve Robinson, Fraser Clark. We've got Fabio Wardley, of course, is thereabouts. We've got Daniel Dubois, of course. And we've got plenty more who are still amateurs in that as well. So we support our own from the beginning. We don't just support once they get to a certain point and then hate on everybody else. That's not what we do. Most of us here in the UK, such as myself, we will support Tyson Fury. We will support Dillian Whyte. We will support Anthony Joshua. The only time there's really kind of like rivalry is when either of these guys meet each other. Then on that particular day, we're going to pick a side, stick with that side. Who knows? Potentially jump ship and whatever else it may be on fight night. But then afterwards, we're back to supporting everybody else again. That's what we do. We don't sit around hating if you're an Anthony Joshua fan. Hate on everything with Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Some do, of course. Dillian Whyte fans don't do that. Tyson Fury fans don't do that. Again, some do. But the majority don't. And that's the point. Tyson Fury needs to get that belt from Wilder. That will then encourage and save American boxing. This isn't from a British perspective. And I know people say, oh, Sporting Icon is so biased. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I've said that since day one. I am biased when it comes to Britain and Irish. I've always been that way, and I always will be that way. But that doesn't mean I don't have love and respect and admiration for Americans or just non-Brits in general. Of course I do. Just like you put these particular fighters in the ring with a Brit, of course I want my countryman to win the fight on that particular night. Afterwards, I'll go back to supporting them. But Wilder isn't somebody I can get behind. Wilder isn't somebody most people in the UK can get behind. When ordinarily people were getting behind Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield and that. They were getting behind him. They were getting behind the Floyd Mayweathers and that. But we're looking at the American heavyweight scene, especially the heavyweight scene, going, what's going on? What's going on? We're looking at some of the lower weights as well. Looking at the Charlos like, what are you doing? Why do you keep using this excuse about go see Al Heyman, but I'm my own boss? Errol Spence Jr., why aren't you fighting Terence Crawford? Oh, well, he's on the wrong side of the street. We don't want to hear that kind of stuff. We don't want to hear it. Because when you're a PBC fighter, you have no contract that locks you in to that particular network to be fighting on Showtime or Fox. You don't have that. You can go across and fight anybody, anywhere that you want. But they don't, they hide behind it. And Wilder is the same. This is why Tyson Fury needs to rescue the damsel in distress, Sophia, straight from the grasp, the hostage situation of Deontay Wilder. Free boxing. And then trust me, in about a year or two time, we're going to be looking at American heavyweight boxing going, wow, it's actually resurrecting again. Maybe we will see a Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, etc. So that's why I believe Tyson Fury will hopefully beat Deontay Wilder, put an end to the hate, the absolute hate that his fanatical fans have on the rest of the world of boxing. Remove that shadow, put a little bit of vitamin D of the sunshine on boxing again. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.